Hey guys, welcome back to another Lore Olympus review episode. I'm Dazzling Kate. I talk about all things nerdy, pop culture, comics, webtoons, you name it, I've probably watched or read it. Anyways, a lot of you wanted a review of episode 251. I read it. Don't worry, it's like the latest one that's been released. I'm not paying to read ahead. I'm sorry, guys. It gives me the ability to talk about it within lengths away from each other and not get a headache, because the insanity in this is so freaking cringe. Was it one of the worst episodes? No, it wasn't the worst episode. No, it wasn't the worst episode. However, I do have a couple of things to say. Like, why did it take this long to have a more Hades centric episode? And even then, it gets super annoying and cringy. And I know it's a romance story, I know it's a drama story, but if, like, knowing what I know now from Hades and Persephone's relationship and how toxic it is, and how much Rachel wants to push this couple into our face and say this is the best story ever to be told, it's not really working. Let me be real. It's not working. No, I am a little thankful it is a bit of a Hades centric episode, but unfortunately, a lot of what goes on afterwards kind of makes a difference. And I am glad that we do have space away from the two at the end of the episode, because it does focus on other characters. So I'll go into the Hades and Persephone thing first, considering that's the main objective of Lore Olympus, and we can't have 5 minutes of just absorbing the fact of, like, that maybe there's other characters in the story that can bring a difference and give us breathing room from these two, and develop them a little better. Wait, that would be too logical. That would be too logical. Never mind. Anyways, let me just look at the few factors. Now, Hades gets possessed by Kronos in this at the beginning. Everyone is like, oh no, Kronos! Oh no, is he still a coward? And, Persephone is being the, like, oh, badass woman in this. It's like, oh, bring me back my husband. And trying to get, the interloper out, which I'm assuming is the child. Now, guys, don't come for me and say, but Dazzling Kate, you didn't read it fully. And I'm like, how can I focus on each and every one of these elements if the main plot and the main characters are cringe? How am I supposed to do that? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. So we have the whole thing of, like, Kronos being like, oh, you think what I did to Hera was bad? Then he explodes with diamonds and gemstones coming out of his body because Persephone and Hades' love is so strong. No harm will come to the goddess of spring. And, all the gemstones come out. Now, it's pretty cool to some extent. Like, I do like the gemstone part about Hades, because I do think that is a element of his character we don't get enough of. We don't get enough of him using his powers, and it's unfortunate because it would be pretty cool to see him use his powers more. And I get that he's more reserved than the other gods, or the fact that he's not good enough to be Persephone powerful. Anyways, let us continue. So, anyways, he gets knocked out. It goes on to the news, and you know, it's very interesting. Like, I will give credit where credit is due with to some extent for Rachel. The dramaticness of the like layout working out for like the buildings and the gemstones showing up out of nowhere. I do like those aspects. But again, I really feel like to some extent there needed to be some more dramaticness. Maybe a bit more like I feel like with every like with a lot of these stories, the tone, the atmosphere doesn't become colder or like darker or anything when you expect that to happen in the moment, especially in a place like the underworld where it's so brightened up. Like the entire comic is very very brightened up, and it kind of prevents any use of darker shades and darker like atmospheres and preventing a lot of it to not work out well. Now I do see some smoky clouds around them to imply that it's magical, but it doesn't really help matters when in these situations the use of color is very important, especially in a sense where, you know, it would make the scenery a little bit more popping out and more dramatic. Like, I would expect some shades of red or purple, even, if you wanted to imply a little bit more darkness. But no, the same, like, using blues for the characters and for the like, the background. That's what I mean when I say atmosphere, backgrounds. It really doesn't make it better. It doesn't make the like powers dramatic or the showing of a character like Kronos to be a dramatic. It's just it's the scenery needs to pop out when things like this happen is what I'm trying to imply. When it's just bland like this. Now, the layout is nice. It's just the use of the stage, like the shadows and the staging and making the effects worth like making it more dramatic in a way where it works in this case, but no, it doesn't really do much of that. It does like I'm looking at one of the panels which has Hades holding onto Persephone, which it looks good, but you know what would make it even better? For it to be a little darker, to have a bit more like a bit more character in it. It's just bland, boring, and it doesn't really make anything pop, especially in a sense where these characters, yes, they are colorful, but the backgrounds are very important too. And of course, the emotional situation with the characters are important too. And color tells a big story with that. It's very hard to do, like, bring the dramaticness of a fight like this, like a short lived fight, of course, to the picture. It doesn't do much of anything, it just looks bland. It's kind of like forgetting to add a specific spice to a dish, and it doesn't pop as much. You just get bland meat in that stew when it should taste of rosemary or onion powder or garlic powder or anything of the sorts to make the stew taste good. It is bland in this. It's watery chicken flavored beef stew. That's all you're getting. No salt, no pepper, no nothing. Rachel knows how to cook it to an extent. She just doesn't know how to add the seasoning, is what I'm trying to say, with the backgrounds. And the use of staging and coloring and shading and am I making sense to you guys? I hope I'm making sense. Anyways, aside from that, they do have their moment of, oh, I almost hurt you. Oh man, I feel so responsible for this. And, it's just like, oh yes, like, let's kiss, and I'm so glad you're here, and my love, what happened? Da, 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 da. And, we actually get more exploration of Katie's, trauma of his past as a kid again, and being swallowed swallowed by Kronos. We're finally bringing that back now. And this is fucking crazy to me because there is use of color in this, and it proves that Rachel does know how to use it. She just chooses not to do it. Like, this is what I mean. Like, the dramaticness of Kronos in that specific flashback scene, memory scene, for Hades, showing this, like, scary looking Kronos, and then, trailing back to child Hades, and the shading of both him and the long haired Hades. And it works. It's using the color to its advantage. But it's so fucking crazy to me that we didn't do that. Like, why couldn't Rachel just, like, do, like, all the characters in black and use the color of that red shade and have that happen to imply that something big and serious is going on? No, we're gonna save it for the memory scene. Okay, got it. It doesn't make much sense. To me, it just... There's chances to use your, like, dramatic shading for these kind of scenes, and when Kronos arrived, that was one of those scenes where you should have done it. Anyways, we'll continue and talk about, oh, they're so sorry, and then the Kronos did, and they're making up in their lovey-dovey way. And, Persephone's in awe of, Hades every day. And how she felt truly hopeless despite being a fertility goddess and despite having a nice life with her mom and despite having... You gotta really admit that with these characters, Persephone didn't have to deal with any hardships aside from her mom pushing her to do her best and trying to make her perfect. I get that. But they don't make it seem like a big deal. It's just like, she's basically comparing, oh, my mom pushing me around is like Kronos swallowing you. Like, bitch, what? What? Are you saying you're, feeling hopeless? Okay, I got it. And, Hades is just like, you think that about me, being so in awe of me. It's just crazy to me. And it's him bringing up all these, like, different things. Like, I feel completely useless to help. On my failed sleep drive, my stupid drill that's made no progress. And Persephone's just like, that's not true at all. If anything, you're the most important being in this process. He's like, how so? You've been trying to keep your childhood separate from this situation, but very few beings have experienced what you have. And yet you are strong enough to choose kindness, empathy, and compassion, despite cheating on your Menthe with me and being a total dick. And yeah, that's totally kindness and compassion. And, all these other things he did outside of cheating on, Menthe with you and, using souls as slaves. You're just so kind and empathetic and compassionate. Totally. Yeah, it's a little interesting there, okay. And, they're trying to name the interlooper, and he's just like, you want to give him a name? Kind of like them adopting another kid. Oh, you got a second kid now. Okay. Great. Goody. I'm just trying to understand where Rachel will, like, finally be happy for these, like, have a good ending for these two that makes sense, that will satisfy the fans. But let's be real. She's already gotten them married. She's already gave them a child. Persephone's already got her own apartment. She's already got... What else can we give them? Are they going to be the new king and queen of the, like, freaking Olympus? Because, Persephone is the, like, fertility goddess, so Hades deserves to be, like, king of Olympus. So Persephone can be the queen of the Olympus. Like, what the fuck is... Like, I'm not expecting that, but I just feel with a lot of these, it's just like, she's trying to say something. I just don't know what. But okay. Then we're giving breaking news about the diamonds. The diamond explosion of, Hades in the tower. Why is it that every time these people just, see this and they're just like, let's turn on the camera and talk about it. Let's brag about it. I mean, it can be used to a good extent because, yeah, there's plenty of good moments when you can have a newscast doing all this stuff. But it's like, in some way, it kind of feels like, oh, look at how amazing this is. Oh, look at how dangerous this is. Oh, look at how powerful she is. Like, in this, it just feels, I don't know. It feels very odd. Anywho's, let's continue. So, during this news segment, Luce and her sister are watching, and her sister asks like, "Oh, what's going on with Hades?" And Luce is just like, "Oh, sure, see what happened." And basically, it's just a bunch of JPEGs you edited yourself, and she's just like, "It's a vision board. I'm manifesting." And I mean, it's at least a little interesting there that the sister is totally into manifesting, whatever. But it just feels really annoying because it's like, why do we even have Luce still here? She already got, her house was already broken into by Persephone, and Persephone already threatened her. Persephone already did this. You'd think she'd back off, but I'm sure that there's gonna be something like, oh, maybe she's gonna be the permanent, like, Luce tree in the underworld for, permanently, because Persephone's a petty bitch. Yeah, that's totally gonna happen. And, the sister's like, oh, I miss Menthe because it was easier to manipulate her. And it's just like, what the hell? Also, we have Apollo at the end of the episode, because why not? And he's there to see, Cassandra. And that's about it for this episode. I don't know. This is not very satisfactory to me to wait this long for this episode, and, well, it wasn't that big of a deal. Did it give us more information? Kind of. Did it really make an impact for this series? I would say a little bit, like 4% or something. It's cringe to me because there's a lot of missed opportunities. There's a lot of, like, moments where you're just questioning, why exactly is this still going on? Like, oh right, Kronos. Oh right, Apollo. Those two characters there kind of keeping us in the story for now, and there's not much else keeping us here. Like, it's funny to me. It's really funny to me that we have other series coming in. Like, okay, now Lore Olympus came back around the corner when a new series came in, like Cinderella Boy, or 10 Ways to Get Dumped by Tyrant, or The Fateful Invitation, or another series called Locked It Onto You. And even one of the series coming back, which was Cursed Princess Club. You have all these different series. Where it basically is just like, well, what do you want to read? Obviously, people are going to go towards all these other series. because better names, better titles. Oh, a new like an old title that's returned, like Cursed Princess Club. Gotta read that. Competing with that, I'd rather read the newer titles or Cursed Princess Club over Lore Olympus. I feel like with this, like I feel dissatisfied with how much of a weight this episode was. It wasn't even worth it to me. It wasn't worth it to me. I know there's plenty of Lore Olympus fans who are gonna get on my back and say, "Dazzling Kate, you've never never understood it in the way I do," or "Dazzling Kate, this couple's the most amazing, perfect couple because I said so." Dazzling Kate, this is you're being mean to Rachel and her writing skills. She's just doing this. Dazzling Kate, blah 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 blah. Here's my other reason for being upset with you. You can have your reasons to being upset, but that won't change the fact that the storytelling in Lore Olympus has definitely decreased over time. The artistic scenes, which have a lot of opportunity to be explored, put more effort into. Oh wait, no, they get glossed over, and it's better that we wait until the Netflix series, and I'm sure they'll give a shit. I'm sorry if I sound mean. That's not my intention. It's just, it feels like the more I read Lore Olympus, the more I feel like Rachel's just speeding ahead, trying to get the product finished as soon as she could, and just making sure that she has all her ducks lined in a row, just so she can make sure she has the material for the Netflix series for those people to keep track of, so that way she can be satisfied with her arrangement. Anyways, this episode was it was below average. Didn't really try to impress me. But that's okay. It wasn't made for me. But you know me, I enjoy reading my fair share of romance stories, and we gotta wait and see where this story takes us. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Anyways, guys, stay safe, stay cool, and most importantly, stay hydrated. This is Dazzling Kate, signing the hell out of here.